Good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me here today. I'm sure everybody starts their speech by, "This is a great honor," etc., etc. But it's hard to believe that for most people, they would say it's a great honor to speak to the Bathroom Manufacturers Association. But I can honestly tell you why. Well, not many people know that I spend most of my time, maybe two-thirds of my time, on house refurbishments and renovations the last few years. And it's something that I absolutely love and enjoy. And as it happens, by amazing coincidence, bathrooms, stuff I'm doing right now, in fact, is actually my focus. So it was like a big buzz to get this gig. And thank you very much for this. My last gig was 3 days ago for the World Economic Forum in Davos. So you couldn't get more different, right? But anyway, thank you very much. So what we're going to do is cover, we will go on to the cryptocurrency, and I'm going to even sort of outline what a BMA token will look like and what it could do for the association. But I thought we'll just broaden up slightly first to understand it's the place of cryptocurrency and in the industry. We are right now in lockdown everywhere, and as we know, plumbers, sparkies, etc. All of us who work in the industry, we are considered to be key workers because, if you're frail, if you're at home and you have no water, or your bathroom isn't working, no shower, no toilet facilities, I mean, this is not just an inconvenience; it's actually a lifeline. And I wanted to explain how this idea of bathrooms is going to become more and more essential as we go forward in society. So cryptocurrency is within a technology area called blockchain. People technically call it distributed ledger technology, DLT. And that in itself is in another industry called the fourth industrial revolution. And this is alongside artificial intelligence, AI, Internet of Things, 5G, etc. Now, what that would mean is, as kind of examples, is so if you imagine Internet of Things, our toilets of the future, and already in Japan they have these, we'll be analyzing our waste in real time, and telling us on our app, on our phone, how healthy you are. So you can imagine how critical that would be in a time like this. It would be telling you, so it's not just a piece of kit that takes our waste, it's actually a bit of telecare telling you remotely the health of yourself. Equally, things like the idea that when people buy things in their bathrooms, they now want to know things around sustainability. They want to know, is it made by sustainable materials? They might want to know, is it come from China? They might be worried that it comes from China. So the issues about the tracking a product through its life cycle, where it came from, who are the people involved in it, right through, this is going to be relevant to the association and how it supplies the customers, because people are going to give preferential treatment. And as we know, in the construction industry, I mean, there's loads and loads of products out there now where you charge higher because it's a more sustainable background to it, and so on. And in terms of AI, we can imagine Alexa or Siri or etc. Or if you're really unfortunate like me, Bixby on Samsung, telling you, you say, run my bath at this temperature, or it says, well, I know the temperature that you want, Alinga, and I'm going to run it, and I know that this temperature is too high for a baby, so I'm going to take caution for you, precautions and make sure. So this whole area and all these things are going to be 5G enabled. So 5G, as it comes through, is not just a faster broadband, because we don't really need faster mobile. We have, great video already. It's actually enabling a world around us, including our bathrooms, to be completely accessible at all times and connected to us. So this is a broad subject, and the narrowing down, and I mentioned that my previous conversation a few days ago, a video for the World Economic Forum. It's around coronavirus and blockchain, so that people, because it's a crisis right now of trust. It's because we don't trust people, we don't trust countries, we don't trust products, where it's come from, organizations, projects and processes and so on. And so we need traceability. And what blockchain, the technology behind cryptocurrency, does, it's like a massive ledger in the sky. It's like a huge spreadsheet in the sky that's fully visible, that we can all see the entire track of where that money or anything of value is being traced right through. What's unusual about it is that you can tell the value that's being sent, and what blockchain does is the movement of value, I should say, from A to B, digital value. You can see where it's coming from, but not who it's coming from. You can see where it's going to, but not who it's going to, and you can see time and date stamped. And this is the difference between that and money. So for example, and that's why, it's been very useful for the initially, cryptocurrencies were used tremendously for the illegal industries because, arms dealers, sex traffickers, drugs, etc. Fantastic. You had anonymous money being able to be sent, but no, you could see it going. You could see billions going through, but you didn't know who it's going from and who it's going to. So it had a bad start, but now it's become much more mainstream, and opportunities in the industry like BMA and banking and so on. So let's start with the idea of first the technology. Would people want to see a coronavirus a coronavirus clearance certificate, for example? And we set up a foundation to do this called TTP, and this effectively will trace people and products and organizations and so on and processes to ensure and give a risk factor for our supply chains in our industries. So people will feel, and this gives you assurance, we are not in the BMA are not simply giving a physical product. They're giving a much bigger non-financial transactions happening. It's giving people assurance that they have a shower. I do this. I mean, I seriously do this every day, and with my own hands, I will do all the plumbing, etc. And that's because it is satisfying to know when someone knows that they have. It is an essential item of livelihood, and we've got to understand that what we're offering, and I'm sure you understand this already better than I do, is much more than a physical enclosure. You're offering a basic level of life support that's required, and as I've said, the technology is kind of moving that way. So let's talk about what a BMA token now and what it might offer, and then we kind of go into cryptocurrencies and payment systems that might challenge your membership. So I guess the first thing is it allows a circular economy to come out from the BMA with predefined rules. The thing about a token transaction, as opposed to a money transaction, if I give you money, I'm giving you the money, and that's the end of the transaction, and I cannot say how you're going to use it. A token transaction has something called a smart contract associated with it in code. It means only use this. You can only use this token if it complies to this set of code. If this, do that. So the BMA may, for example, say, we are going to pay our suppliers with a BMA token, 1% of it in BMA and 99% in what's called fiat currency, normal currency. And if you want to cash in your 1%, then you've got to adhere to these rules. And it's immutable. You can't actually cash it in. If it's in code, you can't circumnavigate it. Now, the supplier could go, well, I'll just go forget it. I can forget the 1%, but actually 1-2% is quite a big deal, in any industry. And so this way you can change the behavior of an industry right down the supply chain. Whether you want to bring in rules like ethical rules, like modern slavery, I wanted anti-bribery and whatever rules, or I want it not to be made by these particular chemicals that could affect our business going forward. It might be very difficult in India, in China, etc., where these things are manufactured, for them to understand the problems over in the West, to go, oh my God, you've made it out of this? Oh, how could I possibly use it in my bathroom? You know, and leather, which does not affect our industry here at BMA, you know, is a big one where people go, I don't want to sit in a car where 3 people died making it, you know. But equally, people talk about how with iPhones, nobody seems to mind that 32 people die, commit suicide every year, making, you know, iPhones in China, you know, and you go, well, but I love it because it's shiny, you know. So, but it allows you to control the supply chain to the values and behaviors and implement an ideology in the transaction itself. There is and you implement those ideology in a blockchain certificate where you transparently show who is complying and who's not complying. It doesn't mean you can put your own cutoff or go, well, you know, if 3 out of 5, then okay, we'll accept the transaction or we'll accept the supplier. But it allows you, again, to set certain standards and nudge the standards forward. Now, when it comes to payments, I guess, you know, definitely I have seen myself, some of my colleagues, some of my guys, I say, I'm going to kind of interlude here. So that I'm, you know, I don't come across as a complete middle-class academic asshole when I go to the trade counter. You know, I'm always effing and blinding and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And about a year ago, I went to his trade counter and I was renovating it. I renovate churches. I went to a trade counter in South Wales, and the bloke said, "Excuse me, can I ask you, are you a vicar?" Oh my God! I said, "A vicar?" I said, "What makes you say that?" He said, "It's the way you speak. So you can't put it on, right? You can try, but you can't put it on." So it was a good lesson to learn. Anyway, but a lot of my mates, you know, actually do trade in Bitcoin and stuff like this, which is surprising. You know, there's quite an undercurrent there because they try to make money wherever they can. So there are dangers about cryptocurrency and taking payments. So I've talked about paying others, but taking payments. You got to understand this industry, honestly, 95% are scams. Okay, you've got to understand, nearly everyone, if someone comes to you with cryptocurrency proposition, first believe it's a scam before you even think about anything else. 20% of money is hacked. That, you know, actually people hack. You know, you think you've taken the money, you put it onto your wallet, which is a digital wallet. If it's online, it's almost, you know, it's 20% is hacked, just disappears. We once had, I have a center called the Center for Citizenship, Enterprise and Governance. It's a not-for-profit center. We have about 165 members. We did an ICO, initial coin offering in 2017. We raised a lot of money and then we carried on doing it. And we once had 5 million taken us in 48 hours. You know, and we go, wow. So mindful that if you do it online and leave money online, it's actually liable to get hacked. So you need to understand our technologies to take it offline, your money, so that to protect it. And those things are 100% safe. It's just more painful to. It's like having money, you know, online account and having money in a building society which never does online stuff, you know. So beware that payments are, you know, that receiving payments can be scammed as well, and mostly, you know, they are scammed. So there are kind of a range of dangers in the sector, but definitely it's moving this way because of the ability to implement good behavior or whatever you want to do to change society, because people find it, you know, let's talk about, for example, international trade. You know, right now we're doing some work for HMRC, for blockchain, for post Brexit. You know, we haven't got 10 years to do agreements with other countries to bring in bathroom gear, etc. But we can say that if you adhere to these certificates on the blockchain, then that automatically, if then do that, this stuff will be accepted. And why you want to trace it? Because you want to tax it. You don't want people to be able to. Equally, you may want to be able to try and take money if you want to get paid from China, as an example. And I sit under the regulator for China for the sector, which is a $103 trillion business. It's no joke, you know. And you know, there's power of the 7 of us, the committee has powers of life imprisonment and death, so it's a serious business. So here, if you want to get money out of a country to another country, you got to go through anti-money laundering, AML, KYC, know your customer, a whole kind of arrangement between banks, government control, etc. Reality is, with cryptocurrencies, I can send money to you. No one but you and me will know. No one else. People can see it, but they can't see who it is, and they can't see who you are. But they can see this money is gone, and they can't trace it. So, it can facilitate legitimate transactions as well, if you're finding it difficult to get paid or pay others, because it circumnavigates, a lot of red tape. At this moment, I can see, there are a lot of people suggesting cryptocurrency for payments to people in hardship. Now, the reality is that would be almost impossible, because it's not for the faint-hearted. I wouldn't want an old granny or whatever, trying to use cryptocurrency, because it's a nightmare to set up. But I can see for swift payment, you can ensure I click a button and it's in your wallet. And there isn't a whole kind of I've got to go to the bank and collect money, etc., etc. So what I've tried to cover today, is just a flavor of how it can change our society at BMA, how it can move it forward, the association forward, and it can also, I think, you guys should start thinking about a token that belongs to your own industry, where it's accepted within the industry, as a form of transaction, because it allows you to give things like discounts, for example. It allows you to control discounts and say, if this, do that. And it's actually, you can say, for example, you can even put ideology in those discounts. You can say, if you are a length of time, or, as you guys know, if you're, you can get standard discounts in most trade, Screwfix or Wix or whatever. You can just, Travis Perkins, etc. So even if you don't have a pulse, you get a discount. But you might want to apply discounts for particular communities, maybe greater discounts for people who are vulnerable, and you can use your token to do that. And it takes you out of just a supplier of association, but actually into a force for good for society. And thank you very much. This is a great opportunity, and I've enjoyed my gig.
Olinga, thanks very much for the time you've given us this morning. That was a really fascinating talk, and it really led to some surprising areas that I wasn't expecting around the compliance agenda in particular. Obviously, that is really central to what BMA is attempting to do at the moment, to ensure that the products coming onto the UK marketplace comply with all of those standards that they should do. And clearly, blockchain technology is a method or a tool in our arsenal to try and really push that agenda. So something for us to think about. And there's a rallying cry almost at the end of your presentation there, which I'll leave members to investigate. But is it okay with you if when we circulate this, if members have any questions, they perhaps get in touch with you via email?
Absolutely, they're more than welcome. We're a large not-for-profit organization. We're a think tank, and we'll be really happy to help with no obligation.
Marvelous. Thank you, Olinga, and let's catch up again soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.